Welcome to Good Chat, the podcast from BC Adventure Smart, where we share stories, insights, and tips to help you enjoy the outdoors safely. We talk all things outdoor recreation and adventure while keeping safety at the heart of every conversation. Our goal is simple: to lessen the impact on search and rescue and help grow a stronger safety culture in BC. Whether you're hiking, skiing, paddling, or just curious about BC's backcountry, this is the place for real stories and practical advice to keep you prepared and confident outdoors. Let's dive in.
Welcome to Good Chat, the podcast from BC Adventure Smart. We enhance awareness among enthusiasts to lessen the impact on search and rescue volunteers while adding to the safety culture in British Columbia. Hi everyone, I'm Sandra Riches. I'm the Executive Director of BC Adventure Smart, which is a program that the BC Search and Rescue Association created in 2004. Today's episode is called New to Nature with the Wimpy Camper. We're so excited to welcome Michelle Agone, the creator of the Wimpy Camper, to hear all about her adventures from the early days starting out and how it's going today. Let's dive in. Hi Michelle, how are you doing?
Hey Sandra, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. We're so excited to have you here. I follow you on Instagram, and every time you put up a new post, I'm always excited to see where you've been, what you've been doing, and how you made it all happen. That must be so much fun to put those together.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I started the account, I don't know, maybe about 8 years ago, and it was an idea that came about from a conversation I had with my cousin where I was starting to get into the outdoors and, making my way through learning stuff. And I grew up in an immigrant family, like my parents are from Hong Kong. So I didn't spend a lot of time outside when I was a kid. So we were all kind of like, I guess, nervous or uncomfortable in the outdoors. And I was telling my cousin about my adventures, and she was like, "Oh, you're so hardcore." And I just thought, "Oh my God, I am not that. I know for sure I am not that." And so I said, "No, I'm actually really wimpy." I said, "I'm afraid of everything. I'm just doing it because I enjoy it so much, even though I'm scared." And she was like, "No," and I said, "Yeah." So and that's kind of where the idea came from. It's just I am wimpy, and there's probably lots of us out there that are wimpy but still enjoy it.
Well, I'm sure there's so many people that can relate to you. You're just very generous in sharing your experiences as you learn and help us all learn along with you. So growing up, you didn't spend very much time outside. This is all new territory for you then.
I think that I'm now in the like a not novice brand new phase, but I'm kind of like now moving into a intermediate phase. But I definitely felt like a novice, like a newbie for a really long time because I didn't really get into camping until I was in my 20s. When I was thinking about my outdoor journey, I was thinking about how when I was a kid and I spent a lot of time inside, I was definitely like a nerdy kid that just a lot of drawing, reading, indoor. I didn't even like sitting on grass. That's the truth. I thought grass was kind of gross. And I remember really, I think growing up in BC, you just see so much beauty, and I remember being a kid and really appreciating mountains and wanting to take photos of sunsets, but yet feeling this disconnect, kind of feeling like, oh, I wish I could experience it like in a different way, like not just look at it, but experience it. I remember back in the day, there'd be those like poster calendars where every month there'd be this beautiful photo of whatever, July or August. And I had one that was of the Sunshine Coast. And I think it was July or August, there was this photo of this guy at sunset. It's like the lake and the forest, and it was glowing with sunset colors, and he was swinging from a rope out of a tree into the water. And I was thinking, wow, that looks amazing. How wonderful to be so free and to feel so alive. I remember wishing I could do that. And yeah, so that's kind of like, I guess that's the contrast of like where I came from. And then kind of in my 20s, I got lucky enough to make friends with people that were outdoorsy, and they took me under their wing and took me for my first hike and taught me what shoes to wear. Don't wear cotton. I remember getting really cold one time on a snowshoe because I was so hot. So I was wearing a t-shirt because I was hiking, and I was so cold. And I remember on the way down, I was uncontrollably shivering, like just uncontrollably shivering. And I was like, I knew something was wrong because I had never been so cold and I could not warm up. And one of them was like, "What are you wearing? Are you wearing cotton?" And I said, "Yeah." They were like, "You never wear cotton." And I was like, "Oh my God, okay."
They should have told you beforehand.
I know. Well, I mean, they didn't know how much I didn't know, So yeah, that
Yeah.
was a good lesson for me too. So just all those things that you don't know if you've never spent time outside. And one of the things that I've been reflecting on it, being an immigrant and seeing sometimes immigrants wanting to get into the outdoors, I really empathize, with like that. There's no one to show you the way. So like sometimes like it's so important to make people feel welcome and show them the way. That's kind of what those friends did. They really did take me under their wing and show me the way.
What's been one of the biggest surprises about getting into nature in those first early years?
I think probably realizing that I could do it. I guess maybe that's maybe one of the biggest
Mm,
things is I didn't think I could do it for so long, because of I don't know. I was never good at gym. I was always unathletic, out of shape. I'm still kind of out of shape. And actually, that's wonderful to know too, is that you can be kind of out of shape and you can still enjoy nature and you can still find ways to experience it. You don't need to be super, Ironman or triathlon athlete,
right.
and you can still hike up mountains. You can still go for hikes and trails and find other ways to experience nature. So maybe that's the biggest surprise.
And those surprises can come in all shapes and sizes, right? Like you said earlier, we're unaware of things we're unaware. And that could be a surprise in confidence and strength and abilities. And it also can be a surprise in, whoa, I don't really know how to do this, whatever this is. And it can have some challenges. There's no question. It can have some scary moments. I know in my early years in outdoor rec management, I was a BC park ranger. And I loved that job. But there were some challenges along the way and some scary moments. And even over the years, I've had some scary moments recreating outdoors, if it's been a bear encounter or whatnot. But sharing our fears and these unexpected challenges can really help us as well. I posted something recently about talking about our failures or the what ifs. What if something goes wrong can help us succeed, can't it? It,
Yeah.
it can really build that confidence and kind of add to your toolbox, really, more than anything. What's
Yep.
been one of the most, I want to say maybe uncomfortable moment that you've experienced so far? And uncomfortable could be like, okay, I left a piece of gear at home, or my clothing was the wrong choice again, or
Hmm.
what can you share with us?
When I was thinking about like fears and challenges, I feel like that for me falls into two different categories. There's like rational challenges and rational fears. Rational fears would be like, oh, I hope I don't run into a bear and I could
Yeah.
get lost. And then there's the irrational fears. Like I don't know if adults are supposed to be afraid of the dark, but I still get scared of the dark if I'm out camping and in the woods. Something about when that sun sets, no matter how relaxed I am all day, and I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful. As soon as the night comes, you're like, oh, what was that? What's that lump over there? And yeah, there's the challenge of different kinds of fears, I guess. So one of the things that I was thinking about when preparing for like this podcast was I was thinking about my fears and how I've managed to overcome them. And for the rational ones, it's been easy because you can tackle it by being prepared. And that just made me realize as I was thinking about, oh, that's how I tackled that fear, is how important
Yeah.
the Adventure Smart is, because you can do these things and build the confidence if you feel prepared. So, like with being afraid of bears, knowing not to surprise bears, knowing, yeah, getting educated about the fact that bears are more afraid of us, or at least just as afraid of us as we are of them, and how to use bear spray and hiking as a group and all of that stuff. So that has really helped with that fear of bears, traveling in a group. And then another rational fear of mine is getting lost, because I have a terrible sense of direction. So I'm often
Hmm.
afraid of getting lost. And what has really helped me with that is just knowing that I'm with somebody that I know has good sense of direction. So I happen to have, again, lucky friends that have very good sense of direction. Like I would never hike with just my brother because he and I have the same genetics and we both get lost just like in like a room. Like you're like, oh, where'd you go? So like I don't hike with him alone for new trails, or if I do, then it's a trail that I've done. And we've got the All Trails app, so we're prepared again with like knowing how to not get lost. And then of course the trip plan. I think the trip plan, when I learned about how important a trip plan was, it just made so much sense. And and for those that are listening to this podcast and don't know what a trip plan is, it's as simple as just telling somebody who's not on the trail with you where you're going and what time you'll be back. It's that simple, because if you don't come back, no one even knows you're gone. Like that one really hit home for me. I know it sounds so like obvious, but when I thought about that no one would know, I was like, oh my God, that's awful,
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah, so that just being prepared has really helped with a lot of the fears, I think.
It can, and it brings me back to a story. I remember one of the early years when we had just launched the Adventure Smart Trip Plan app. For anyone wanting to know more about it, check it out at adventuresmart.ca. It's free to anyone in Canada, and it's super easy to use. Someone used it, and they thought, oh, I'll just do a test trip plan. I'll send it to my emergency contact, and I'm just going to go for a walk in one of my local parks regions. And she said she just wanted to see how it would work on her phone and all that fun stuff. She said she wasn't expecting to feel what she would feel. And that was when she was out there hiking. She had this sense of comfort, this sense of, I feel really good that someone knows I'm here. And she
Yeah,
wasn't expecting, right? Like you just said, she wasn't expecting to feel anything. She just thought, oh, I'll just do this because I'm supposed to. And I'm really just checking out my technology. But
yeah,
she had a sense of comfort. She had a feeling that someone knew where she was. And I also think back to an incident we had a few years ago with search and rescue in the Lower Mainland with a hiker, Annette Portraz, and she was walking her dogs and got lost. She just went for an afternoon. 2 nights, 3 days later, she was found. She didn't file a trip plan. And I'm using her as an example. And we've shared this before with her incident years ago, and she really learned a lot from that. But just to back up your story there and how easy that is to do, right? Either through the app, a note, text to a friend, whatever it is. And it can
yeah.
really give you a sense of comfort and help you maybe with some fears like, oh, get over that a little bit and say, hey, yeah, someone knows where I am. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, because even if you got lost, like that's the thing that's so comforting about the trip plan, is even if you get lost, somebody will find you. That's the great thing, because like if getting lost doesn't actually seem very scary to me, because like if I get lost and I get really turned around, all I have to do is sit down and probably somebody will come and find me. Like
Yeah.
it's like, you know what I mean? That's been a big comfort for me.
It's a big comfort. And thanks for bringing that up. If anyone ever gets lost or turned around, injured out there, needs help, those are the 2 most common reasons for search and rescue in British Columbia. We really want you to do that, what Michelle just said. We want you to stop moving. Stay put, please. And if you can think about the STOP acronym, it stands for stop, think, observe, plan. And when you stay in one location, it will help search and rescue find you faster, which often means it's a less severe incident because they found you quicker, you're in better condition. Anyway, just a little tip there for those listening who are thinking, what do I do if I need help and should I keep moving? The answer is no, don't keep moving.
Yeah.
We don't want you to move. We don't want you to go down a river, a ravine, a creek, nothing. Wherever you are and when you call for help in that location, stay
Hmm.
put. Search and rescue will find you faster.
Heading outdoors, plan ahead, be prepared, and stay safe. From checking the weather and telling someone your plans to carrying the essentials, small steps make a big difference. Together, we can lessen the need for search and rescue and build a stronger safety culture in BC. Your safety is your responsibility. Check out the Adventure Smart Trip Plan app at adventuresmart.ca.
You know, there's surprise successes and there's lots of wins out there. As I watch you on your social media, we can see you're winning a lot. But we're also learning along the way with you and celebrating milestones, unexpected joys, whatever that might be, if it's a great cookout or a new
Yeah.
knot that you're tying, right? And all of these build newfound confidence, which I love. I remember in my early career, my confidence was much different than now outdoors on so many levels. Was there ever a moment where you surprised yourself out there with that confidence?
Yeah. So the one that really comes to mind actually is a time when I really challenged myself. And I think maybe that's what happens. Like the bigger the challenge, the more confidence and the more you grow from it, even though it felt horrible, honestly, at the time. So
Mm-hmm.
what I decided to challenge myself with, because I have, as you know, Sandra, from like following my Instagram, is I'm really into survival and bushcraft.
Yeah.
So I wanted to try sleeping under a shelter that I built. And I really struggled. Like I didn't think it would be that hard, but it was really hard to build a shelter. So I ended up with this super measly like stack of sticks that were like haphazardly leaning against a tree. And it was a winter night, because I wanted to do it when there weren't any bugs. So I did it it was a winter night. And I didn't go alone. I went with my friend, and she's like, "Oh, you're crazy. I'm sleeping in my tent." So she's like 10 feet away in her tent. But I'm like, I'm sleeping under this shelter that I built. And then, so when it came time to crawl under, I crawled under and I was just like terrified all night long. I laid there and I don't even know if I really slept, but I was just determined to spend the night there. And I kept like waking up with every rustle, thinking it was a bear or something, but it was incredible. It was one of the most memorable experiences I've ever had because the forest was actually dead quiet. This was out in Squamish, like down Forest Service roads and stuff. It was dead quiet. There was moonlight and there was frost all over everything and all the trees are bare. So like that moonlight's just coming through and it was like the forest was like daylight. You could see everything and it was just beautiful. But that was one of my like proudest moments because I actually spent the night out just to see if I could do it. And I could. So that felt, and it was safe. So like obviously I would do challenges that are safe, and that was a good challenge for me.
It is a good challenge, and doing them in a safe space, and your friend was close by, but you still wanted to push your limits a little bit just to see how you could do it and what would come of it, right? And just the feeling you get from that, it made me think of a staffer I used to have here at BC Adventure Smart. She challenged herself. She went on one overnight every month for a year, solo.
Wow.
With her dog. And she was pretty outdoorsy, not huge, but she wanted to, it was just really a personal challenge. She chose relatively local areas. Like, let's say if she was in Coquitlam at the time, she's moved to the island now, but if she was in Coquitlam at the time, her backcountry adventures were to the past Brockton Point and Mount Seymour Provincial Park. So she would make it accessible, doable, but it was a challenge. So 12 months in a row. So she dealt with all seasons. She made sure she went, and sometimes she said she didn't want to go, either based on weather or mood or energy or whatever, busy week, but she did. And she said it was one of the best things she had ever done. And I think it was more of a personal challenge. There were physical challenges, no question, and gear challenges and all sorts. But man, I thought, way to go. I thought it was such a great little big challenge, really, to get through and see how she could do. I think about newcomers to the outdoors. We actually did a webinar on this a few months ago or within the last year. It's over on the BC Search and Rescue Association's YouTube, Newcomers to Parks. And what goes through everyone's mind who is new to the outdoors, either to a local park, municipal, provincial, national park. There's so many great places to go, right, that are easily accessible. And how do we learn from each other in that environment as a newcomer? You could be a newcomer 5 years to British Columbia and still be a newcomer, maybe to the outdoors. And who knows what you did wherever you came from. And that can really make for a different experience here. We've worked closely with multicultural societies, newcomer groups, some ESL groups, and then would deliver our programs in their language to their communities. So there's so many different ways to reach audiences that are using the parks and the trails. You know, I spend a lot of time outdoors myself, and I love seeing the variety of everyone out there. It's really exciting.
That's so cool that you guys do the reaching out to specific communities. That's so cool. I didn't know you guys did that.
We try to do that as much as we can. And I think the best model I find works for us at BC Adventure Smart is when I can train other educators who speak another language. We did a workshop a while ago, quite a few years ago, and there were 11 different languages in the room. And then they were going to go back to their communities. And one of them was sign language, which I thought was very cool. But nonetheless, they were going to take our curriculum and go back to their community as recognized, trained BC Adventure Smart educators, which we do. If anyone's interested, we do this. And then they could share it in their language and communicate that in their language. I know I've been on different TV stations that broadcast in different languages, and it's all dubbed, obviously, in their language. But we do our best to work with as many groups as possible in British Columbia.
Every year in BC, search and rescue groups respond to thousands of calls, and most come down to three things: injuries, getting lost, and pushing past your limits. Wear appropriate footwear, learn how to navigate, stay within your abilities, plan so you can reach your destination. Your destination is home.
What are your top 3 tips for someone that's totally new to the outdoors?
Well, my brother is starting to get more into the outdoors, so I guess I'll think about what I told him. I told him, get the All Trails app, and I said, it's worth the subscription. That's what I told him, because that's been a game changer. You can download the trail onto your phone, so even if you're out of cell reception, which you often are on the trail, around our parts, then you'll know where more or less where you are, because you cannot rely on the Google Maps. So that was the first thing I told him. The second thing I told him that's most important is what we already kind of harped on. It was the trip plan. I told him how important that is to tell somebody where you're going. And I'm so glad my brother's listening to me, because he texted me just the other day and he's like, I'm going out to Belcarra, just so you know, I'm going with these friends. We'll be back by
Oh,
2.
good.
So yeah, the trip plan, and I would say go in a group when you're starting out. Go with friends, people that are supportive, that aren't gonna just leave you behind. I've heard terrible news stories where people meet up and then I don't know what happens, but people get left behind, and I just think that's
Yeah.
awful. Go with friends that aren't going to just leave you behind if you're slow. That's just not fair.
Those are great tips, Michelle. Thanks. And hopefully your brother listens to you, because they're all on point. And that last bit there, that those group dynamics is a biggie. We talk a lot about that in our webinars, in our messaging, in our programs. And we really encourage the buddy system. For one, we really encourage not going alone. But if you do, you take precautions and let someone know where you're going. Ideally, there's a group. And if there's a group, then we like you to have the buddy system in place. So let's say there's 10 of you, and literally at the trailhead, you just count off 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and everyone's matched to that next number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 10, pardon me. And then you're looking out for each other along the way. You're looking out for each other at junctions, at lunch break, at the summit, on the way down, checking in along the way. How you doing? How you feeling? Watching their physical movement. And you're really that safeguard for them, that person, and them for you. And that keeps you together as a group and just has eyes out on each other. It can really make or break a little adventure, because you mentioned, and I've seen it too in the news, we've had some search and rescue incidents for this and seen stories where people get separated on the trail. Let's say someone at the beginning, at the front of the group, is faster, fitter, for whatever reason, ready to roll, right? Their goal is peak no matter what, let's say.
Yeah.
And then someone in the middle maybe didn't have breakfast and didn't have the right socks on today. They're blistering and they're hungry. And then someone in the back's much slower for whatever reason, right? Maybe they love to check the flora and fauna, look at the bugs, look at the moss, take pictures,
That's probably where I am.
cruise along at a great pace, but at a different pace. And what does that do to the whole group? Separates us, keeps us moving at different paces. But what it also speaks to is the goals for each person is different. So unless we actually trip plan together, which is our first T that we talk about a lot, and talk about those goals as a group, have the buddy system, figure out what are we trying to do here today? Are we trying to reach that summit or peak? Is that the goal? And do we all agree that's the goal? Or is it, let's just stroll till we want to eat lunch and let's stop at 12 no matter where we are, break lunch, have some snacks, share stories, and turn around? Okay, we agree on that. Or we have other goals. It could be a physical, whatever. But identifying them and agreeing to them can really make for a successful outing, and having that conversation. I know you're based in the Lower Mainland of British Columbia. Where do you normally go in your adventures? You don't have to give us any of your favorite secret spots, but in general, where do you like to go and explore outdoors?
Oh, I love a variety of different kinds of outdoor stuff. So I've just bought a canoe last year, so I'm trying to
Oh,
get more
nice.
into like paddling. So I'm exploring myself kind of more the Fraser Valley Lake areas.
Mm-hmm.
I also love when a friend will take me, because I don't have the right kind of vehicle. I love exploring back roads up in the Squamish area, and I love camping off road, just away from people. It's so nice up there. And in terms of hiking, I just love the North Shore Mountains. I mean, there's just so much to see just in our own backyard here in Vancouver. So we're very lucky.
We're so lucky. For our listeners, I'm based in Whistler, and Michelle's in the Lower Mainland. And throughout British Columbia, we're so spoiled, aren't we? We're so spoiled with easily accessible terrain and really great, sometimes severe terrain if you're prepared. But in between the Lower Mainland, sea to sky corridor, let's just go southwest as a big stroke. That's the busiest part of the province and Canada for search and rescue. That's where the most search and rescue calls happen. And 95% of the subjects that are being rescued are locals. So we're really trying to encourage everyone who recreates in their region to think about how you prepare, how you really sharpen your pencil before you head out there and know what to do, like those group dynamics we talked about. We have such easy access, and that easy access can give people a false sense of security. Like you're building your confidence, Michelle, and I did in my early years too in my career and outdoor adventures. But all of these areas are just as accessible for those who are aware as those who are unaware.
Right.
And we really just want to remind everybody who's listening or who checks out any of our resources, we're here for you. And we want to make sure that we can help you have a great adventure. Sometimes heading out there you can feel intimidated either by the people that you're going with, possibly, where you're going, what it's going to be about. Not sure if I can make it to the summit, or I'm not sure if I can ride my bike like everybody else, or paddle as long as others in a canoe. So if someone's feeling a little intimidated, you mentioned earlier about All Trails is a great one. Is there anywhere else you think is a great place to start? I have one suggestion, but what would you suggest?
I think I know which one you're thinking of. I was thinking also about this, that when I bought the canoe last year, I actually don't know much about paddling safety. And the Adventure Smart website has some fantastic courses that I was actually planning to check out about paddling safety and water safety,
Nice.
because there's always something new that we're exploring in the outdoors. You don't know everything in every area. So yeah, Adventure Smart is a great place to start. I kind of think of it as like the cheat sheet for everything. It
Oh,
tells
great
you how to make
description.
a trip plan. Tells you, what the tips are for how to keep safe and group dynamics, like you were saying.
Oh, I'm glad you found our paddling information there at adventuresmart.ca. We have 5 programs underneath our umbrella, and one of them, the one that Michelle's talking about, is called Paddle Smart. And it talks about our main 3 T's, which is trip planning, training, and taking the essentials. It also talks about what to do in an emergency, which I mentioned at the top of our podcast with that STOP acronym. It mentions a little bit about who to call and when on your communications device, and a little tidbit of information. Your cell phone is your secondary means of communication. Your primary means would be an InReach, Spot, or Zoleo as examples. The number to call for 911 is 911, and there's no charge for rescue. So that program is an awesome one. And Paddle Smart is all about that non-motorized vessel, so canoe, like Michelle's getting into, which I love, stand-up paddleboard, and kayaking. It's a great way to go. Have you tried Widgeon Creek? Have you been out to Widgeon Creek and Widgeon Slough yet?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was just out there a couple of weekends ago. It is beautiful. Like I just can't
It's
believe.
stunning.
Yeah, yeah. And
It's such a
waterfall at the end.
Oh, I know, I know. And the little dip in the cold water and across there at the end there at Pitt Lake, which is tidal lake.
Mm.
And anyway, it's a beautiful spot to go. It's really something. It's perfect for canoeing up there. Yeah. When you first started out, Michelle, what was one thing you wish you knew? Like if you go way back to the very beginning, what's one thing you wish you knew, just in general, about getting into your outdoor adventures?
I knew you were going to ask me this, and I was thinking about it, and I just thought the best thing that I would have loved to hear is, you can do it.
That's true, and that can go so far, even if you don't know what you're about to do, can it? Because you feel like you have confidence either from family or friends, and it just makes you feel that much better, doesn't it?
Yeah, or sometimes like even if like in my family, no one was really into the outdoors at that time. So, believing in yourself that you can do it is important.
And here at BC Adventure Smart, we know there's a lot of adventurers out there, enthusiasts who are well on their way. They are another level. And we like to say that we are that 101, we're that first door, we're that intro, we're that welcoming body to help you get informed before you head outdoors so that you can have a good time. For one, that's a big priority, and that you have confidence to pack your pack, know what to do in an emergency, figure out what training you want to take depending on the season and the activity that you're heading out to do, and always let someone know where you're going. So between hearing what we have to say, I think today, and what Michelle's provided, which is a lot of basic information, but really confidence building. And you're the excellent example, Michelle, of what people can do when they believe in themselves and others believe in you, and learning along the way and sharing that. You're being so transparent on social. That's probably been a fun ride. Is having the social channel been a good decision for you?
I think so. I mean, it's just been really fun. Like I started it not knowing exactly how it was going to go, and I was quite intimidated because I was starting into the bushcraft and survival stuff, and it was all guys, and so I was kind of feeling, not belonging, but it's been really great. Like I've had some really great community connections there, and then that is actually where I came across Adventure Smart too. Like from Instagram was how I got connected through Adventure Smart, and I have learned a lot from your Instagram. So thank you too.
Oh, that's great to hear. We try to keep up. There's a lot of people out there putting so much online, and we do our best. We think it's a pretty great platform to share our outdoor education, what we do, what search and rescue volunteers are doing. They donate more than 500,000 hours every year to ground search and rescue training and outdoor education, and just kind of trying to add to that safety culture. Like I said at the top of the podcast, we're trying to just keep up with the Joneses, really, and be that reliable resource for outdoor enthusiasts to come to. But your site's great. And if anyone's looking to check out where Michelle is, check out the Wimpy Camper. She describes herself as knife nerd, which I've seen some of her knife skills online. She's doing an amazing job. Campfire cook and a 9-to-5 desk dweller, which keeps you inspired probably to get outdoors on the weekend when you can, which is so fun to do.
Absolutely.
Well, that's it for today's episode. Good chat, Michelle. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks so much for having me, Sandra.
Today's chat really reminds us that being new to nature is a good thing. It's a chance to learn, maybe make a few mistakes along the way, but that's okay. It helps us in the long run. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Good Chat with BC Adventure Smart, where stories and safety come together. Remember, enjoying BC's incredible outdoors starts with being prepared. By making informed decisions and learning from experts and adventurers alike, we can lessen the need for search and rescue and build a stronger safety culture across the province. If you enjoyed this episode, please check the show notes for resources and tips. And as always, adventure smart and be prepared. And we'll see you next time on Good Chat with BC Adventure Smart.